Hey girl, hey, happy Friday. We're doing Good Maven Morning a little bit later this week because it was a week, right? And one of the things that I've learned um, is that sometimes, even if you plan to do something when you plan to do it, it just doesn't always work out the way you think it is because of so many reasons. And this week I had reasons. And there was kind of a chance to be like, you know what, forget it, hang it up and just not show up this week at all. But I decided that it's better to show up than not, right? Because who knows what's going to come of it? Who knows what comes of your participation and you doing what you said you're going to do? And I am better at doing what I said I was going to do. There was a period where I wasn't. But I also recognize that it's because so many things were out of alignment, right? Like, even if I said I would do something, what I was doing was more so out of trying to find acceptance or trying to find like connection, but not in a way that it meant something to me, but in a way that I would feel like safety or coverage, right? And that's kind of a big thing that I feel about brand strategy in general. Like, we look for alignment that's not really there because we're trying to move with the whims of the audience or the market, things like that. But if you have your mission and values defined and then your vision, you move with that. I didn't have those before. I didn't have a mission. I didn't have like values or a vision that was actually my own. So, I think that's how you end up moving with the whims of other people and building their stuff. But also, I think that's how you become flaky because there's no like connection that you really have to whatever it is. So, this is kind of an aside. This is kind of an aside. I am happy to be here because I am actively living out my own mission by showing up, which is to help women build businesses and lives and legacies without shame and just not feeling alone. That's my mission. And with that, hey girl, hey, if you don't know me, I'm Olivia Denton Thomas, the brand counselor, helping you go from hustling to wholeness with brand strategy. And right now, I want to talk a little bit about opportunity. Um, I think a lot of times we think about brand strategy and we think that it's the veneer over something that we're trying to sell. We think it's the outside, but really brand strategy is the inside to the outside, right? So just like I was saying, how I needed to figure out what actually mattered to me and what was important to create alignment with. That's what brand strategy does. It helps you to determine the heart and soul of the business and the direction so that when you are deciding what is good and what is not good, you have a direction, you have a scale to actually measure from, your rubric, right? You're grading constantly. And I was thinking about the idea of opportunity. So it's really about that. It's about knowing yourself and what you're trying to produce so clearly that not only can you like spot opportunity, but you can create opportunity like by recognizing that the opportunity is really you. I said that the other day, and a friend asked what I meant by it. So I figured it was a great topic to, talk about. And what I mean by it is you are the bridge somebody is looking for, right? So everybody has aspirations, something that they're trying to get to, whether they are an individual or a big, big business. There is another side that they're always trying to get to. And then they're on the other side of the bridge or the, ravine. And you get to be the bridge. Now, what that means is you get to bring your unique perspectives, your unique ideas and experiences and say, hey, I know how to build the perfect bridge that you'll actually want to cross in order to get to your aspiration that lives on the other side, right? So it basically means kind of no matter what's going on in the world, there is there is going to be a problem that you see differently than other people, a problem that you are called to see differently than other people because somebody needs it the way that you would translate it. Oftentimes we look at the market and we say it's saturated and everybody's doing some certain thing. Um, and because of trends and technology changes, yeah, that's a very, very real thing. But the opportunity lies in the fact that it is you who is doing it. And you are bringing your unique experiences, your expertise, and your point of view, right? And oftentimes I say experiences and expertise, like people think I mean professional, like I mean everything, right? Like maybe one time when you were in third grade, you tripped over a rock and you found out that a certain kind of like rock or critter lives under the rock. You know what I mean? Like every unique thing that you encounter actually gives you a leg up in communicating what it is that you're doing because somebody else can relate to that in a way where they see you as what's going to be the thing that moves them forward. Um, you know, I know I know it can be hard sometimes to see that because in the midst of building the business, like you are building your life, right? Like, and the business is meant to build your life. And the stressors kind of around that are hard to see through. But if you allow yourself the time to align, um, it becomes clear. So another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was, sometimes the clarity comes, uh, and the fear sets in, and you don't want to take action because on the other side of clarity, there is some fear, right? You become a person you've never been before. So your brain, your mind is a little bit timid to actually take those actions. Like we are very much used to the hell we know, right? The thing we know is predictable. And when it's predictable, that means even though it's not safe for the long run, it feels safe for the moment. So taking action and doing something a little bit different or a little strange, even looking for opportunity feels like a threat to our system. Our system wants everything to be as normal as possible. But the thing about normal is it doesn't mean right. It just means something that repeats over and over again that we can see and recognize, right? We have to move beyond recognition into understanding what can work and grow and change through us and with us, obviously in us first, right? Because when we're doing these things that are different, that are kind of like shaking the table, even if it's like a little tremor in terms of shaking the table, um, we ourselves might be shaking as well because we don't feel like we have the appropriate backup. We don't feel like we have the appropriate support to do the things that we know we should do, but feel a little left field. There is a squirrel out there that is going crazy. Lord have mercy. Um, so as much as I'm talking about opportunity right now, I am talking about you, and I'm always talking about you. Especially as a founder, I am always talking about you because the business follows the head. Everything, an organization follows the head. So if you don't have enough clarity in yourself, in enough care, in enough stability to be able to look for the good, to be able to find the challenge that someone else is facing, even the challenge that you're facing, and see it as something you can actually take and leverage and like make into something that's great, even the challenges that are presenting themselves in your established business. I think sometimes when I'm talking about these things, I speak so personally that people don't think I'm talking about business as well. These challenges are happening in your business as well, right? And you're maybe at a growth stage and you're trying to like go to the next level of, whatever you're looking for. That's on you as well. That's on your internal stability, like your ability to move through information well that's what's going to change what happens with your business moving forward. We don't have tomorrow, we only have what we can build for today. So that means if we can actually see clearly enough through the challenges, through the things that are happening, we can see opportunity, right? Like your point of view, your perspective, your calm is what creates opportunity, because the more you panic, the smaller your mind becomes. You narrow down your ability to process what is actually possible. So much is possible, but if you're stuck in like fight or flight, right? Fight, flight, fawn, freeze. If you're stuck in those places, you can't move according to what your calling actually is. So in the beginning, I was talking about being flaky. For me, I was stuck in fawn and freeze. So fawn is like people pleasing, tend and befriend, making sure that everybody else like felt immediately good. Um, but not really thinking about the longevity of what I actually need in order to like build and create and like push forward in something that actually makes sense, not just for my fulfillment, but for the fulfillment of a calling, which is going to help other people in the long run, right? Like when you have a calling, you actually have to say no to a lot of things in order to have a really good yes. But I was so used to saying yes to everything because I didn't want anyone to say no to me. No is a blessing. Too many yeses kill your opportunities, right? Because if you're so busy with this yes over here that's not aligned, that's draining your energy, that's pulling from you the resources that you need to be putting into yourself, into your build, you don't actually have it when the visual for opportunity appears, right? And people often say like opportunity presents itself. Well, yes and no, it certainly does, but it you can't see it if you're busy running around, right? There's always opportunity, but if you're busy doing the wrong things, then you don't get to have it. Um, so that means you have to really define what the right things are. What is alignment? What is your mission? What is your vision? What are your values? What do you actually need to be building to help your audience reach their aspirations? So those are like your how and your why, and this is like your what. So you have to have a very clear understanding of those things in order to say no, no, no to the wrong and yes to something that's going to move you in the right direction. So when I said that, you are the opportunity, I'm saying that you need to have enough clarity and stability in yourself, stability in your calling, in what you're actually trying to like move forward to push it um, with conviction, right? Clarity and conviction towards something will help you to do what you need to do to make it happen. Like you can have talent. Talent is great. Talent is actually fantastic. But if you don't have conviction to continue cultivating, then your talent ends up in the recycling bin like everything else, right? If your talent doesn't meet opportunity, then nothing really happens. So you have to look around and not just wait for it to come to you because, it could come to you. You have to actually look around and say, hey, if this, then that, right? One of my favorite classes was, I was terrible at it. One of my favorite classes was my C++ coding class. I was very bad. I was not good. I was in Dr. Fidel's office every single week because I was terrible at it. But what it did help me to kind of understand was like commands, right? Commands and sequencing. If this, then that, and then this, and then that, and all those different kinds of things. Um, and I think opportunity looks the same way. I think being able to like compute life like that and have like a layered understanding of life really makes it possible to see the opportunities in front of you and actually take advantage, right? Does it align with the brand? Does it align with the mission, the vision, the values, the audience? Does it align with the business model that I really want to put forth? Does it align with my pricing structure? Like all of these things are questions you have to ask yourself. Is this something that this specific audience actually has a need and desire for? Do they recognize that the problem is really big enough that they should pay this much for it? Does the delivery and pricing model, do the delivery and pricing model need to change to accommodate their lifestyle? These are things you have to be thinking about when you're building your brand. Branding isn't the cute stuff. Like it's not just how things look at the end of the day. It's not the statics. It really is extremely dynamic. And it's dynamic because you're searching for what's going to connect and amplify like the work that you're doing, not just because you do the work, but because there is something you're trying to further in this life. And that's how the sales are made, right? When you're trying to further something for someone else and they can see it and they can hear it, and it is well communicated in a way where they're like, oh, duh, that's for me. That's what branding does. So it's important to really sit down. And I know it's hard, especially when you're in, again, fight, flight, fawn, freeze. Like your nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system is like active, especially right now. Especially right now. I feel like this entire year has been like one not surprise after the other. And even though it hasn't been surprising, it's been disorienting. And when it's disorienting, it throws you off your square. When you can't stand high and look for opportunities, like it slows you down. And that's real. And sometimes you do need to rest, right? Because again, a lot of things are happening and you might need to take 5, 10 minutes to cry. My brother and I were talking about that. His son was crying over the weekend and he said, look, I'm setting a timer for 1 minute. You can cry for 1 minute. And I laughed and I was like, yep, that's how you get through college. And I'm like, well, that's honestly how you get through life, right? Like you have to feel your feelings. Feeling your feelings is so important, but your feelings can't fill your day, right? Like you can feel through a lot of things very actively, but if your feelings create pause, right? What is it, inertia? Um, you have to start questioning what's really happening here. Like, is the fear winning? Is the version of like the worst version of things that could happen, is that what's winning in your mind right now? Like, the real freedom that you have is the freedom of the ability to think and the freedom of the ability to think in a layered way. Like, it is important to have a layered perspective of things because you get to solve layered problems. Every problem's a layered problem. So you get to solve a layered problem. Like, the problem might be that you're experiencing that you're trying to solve something too simply. Like, you communicate it simply, but the solution is often complex. I have a friend who is seeing her intellectual property stolen right now. And the company that is taking and using her language and like her ideas, they they don't have the depth of understanding to actually deliver the solution. So we kind of keep laughing about it because as much as they want to take her intellectual property and her language, they can't do what she does because she knows things, she's experienced things, she has been in the trenches with things that they really just haven't, right? They really just haven't, right? Because she's had to operate out of necessity when she was doing things, and necessity is the mother of invention, right? If you were trying to steal something, you've never had that necessity placed upon you to create a solution. So you really don't know how to dive in and fix something in the way that the originator can. So, you know, we do laugh about that because the layers of knowledge and understanding that it takes to deliver what it is that you are delivering is the opportunity. Of course, you can simplify the messaging and say, you know, these are the benefits of my knowledge. These are the benefits of my experiences and the process that we're going to do, right? And notice I said benefits. I didn't say features. If you focus on the features, people are going to get kind of thrown off because features don't really mean anything. What means something is benefits. So it's like I have this camera. It's a 4K camera. Okay, what does that mean? I would instead have to say something like shoot high quality videos that show up clearly for everyone and don't diminish your message with like white noise and fuzz, right? Like, oh, okay, I understand that. I get clarity because this camera shoots so well. Like, I, the details don't always matter to people. They matter to the delivery process, absolutely. The details, the feature, the technology, they matter to the delivery process. But what actually matters is how people are going to become better because of your details. I think a lot of people, particularly Black women, have a lot of details. Um, so many degrees, so many certifications, so many things that are that show merit, right? That show that they actually know what they're talking about. And I think that is extremely important. As and I also think there's confusion as to why that's not enough. And there's a lot of reasons. I am not going to glaze over the very real realities. But if we're talking about opportunity, finding and seeing opportunity, that's what we're really sticking to right now. It's not about what you can do. It's not about what you've learned, and it's not about the layers of understanding for the person you're delivering to. It's about how you solve their problems. That is the biggest opportunity. You solve their problems better because you have the layers, right? So you can communicate the layers through benefits, not through features, right? You have the JD, you have the PhD, you have the what is it, the PMP. Like I have what legal, philosophical, and project management experience. What does that mean? That means we can go through your processes with great compliance awareness while making sure that the messaging spreads throughout the organization and to your audience easily, right? I said the same thing on both sides. I did. But this way, someone says, oh, wait, that's great. I need that versus this, which is nondescript. Degrees are nondescript. As much as we want to think that they describe something, they do not. They just say that you have a certain level of knowledge, a certain level of information. Again, extremely important. Like intellectual capital is capital when you know how to take it to the bank. So really, this is about learning how to take it to the bank, whatever your intellectual capital actually is. Like it means something. It absolutely does mean something, but you have to, change the language to the point where the meaning is an invitation to better for somebody. And once that language is shifted and once the messaging is packaged, I'm going to jump back to self-care for a second. Now you have to use your muscle to put it into the world with consistency, with enough consistency that you begin to get tired of it. Sometimes you get tired of your brand message because you're like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. In an ephemeral world, everything is pretty ephemeral right now. You scroll, something comes up or it disappears, right? And it feels like, oh man, people don't want to see that over and over again. They need to see it even more now because they have less time to even ingest it the first time they saw it. It used to be 7 touches for trust and sales, right? People see you 7 times, they interact with you 7 times. I'm not really sure what that number is now. But even if you're sticking to the 7, that means you have to be in the places, in the spaces to be in their faces as much as you possibly can. It could be online. It could be. I always say that social media is a footprint, not a step. So, it should be in the places where you can actually touch people if you have the ability, where you can actually touch people and engage like human to human. I think that gives you a lot more leverage than online a lot of the time. I think online is extremely important. Social media is extremely important, but I don't think it is like a solo endeavor. It is not a solo endeavor. Like you actually have to market kind of traditionally, like in the real world, speaking places, talking to people, networking, engaging, meeting. Like you actually have to talk to people, particularly if you have a non-scaled product. Um, but even to get to scale, you have to do those things. I don't even want to call it guerrilla marketing because I don't really think that's what it is. I think it's just like you have to be in touch. And maybe I'll have to think of another way to say it because it's not guerrilla marketing. It's not just about like, beating your chest and being present out there. It's about being strategic in your presence so that when people see you, it's just like, oh, I understand that. Oh, that feels good. That resonates. Um, that looks like the future that I want. That is one of my favorite things because it's something I said about my husband before we got married. Like he looks like the future that I want, and that was the sell, right? So, do you look like the future that people want, right? I say that I'm a fantasy writer and a future creator, and and that's what this is all about. Like you create opportunity through fantasy, through imagining that somebody can be different, someone can be better, you can be better through your own interactions with other people. Um, and it's because like you ideated and you activated, right? And you reiterated as much as you possibly can to actually make it possible. I was listening to an interview from Bose St. John, I think last week. Um, and she was talking about, yeah, when I go into interviews, for CMO, CBO positions, I tell them that I'm doing this for me. Like I'm not doing this for them. Like you are going to look good because I'm going to make myself look good, right? And I thought that was such like an interesting perspective because she came in with enough, I'm going to say confidence. And when I say confidence, I mean the ability and the desire to confide in herself and create enough reputation for herself that she is pleased, right? She came in with that desire, the desire to be so pleased with her own work that she is going to do her absolute best for this organization because she is fulfilled by the work that she does. That is really what I am trying to convey. When you are fulfilled by the work that you do, you you look for ways to show up and show out because you love it. It is your craft. Like everything looks like a chance to do a bomb thing because you are involved, right? And it really does start with knowing and loving yourself enough to feel that way about yourself. Honoring your team in that way to make them know that hey, what we're doing is actually something that's going to reflect well on you. I think a lot of companies are afraid to do that sometimes, though, right? Like giving credit appropriately to the people that work there, because it's like, well, what if they leave? And I think the opposite is, well, what if they stay, right? Because I think a lot of the time people leave companies because they don't feel appreciation, like they leave because of management, of mismanagement. And I think a part of good management, and for real, I will reference you to my homegirl, Kamaria Scott, on this. I think a part of good management is being able to say, you did that, right? The team couldn't have done it without you. You are integral to our success. And I hope you feel fulfilled in this work. Like, not even just like the work is good because of you, but I really hope you are actually feeling connected and fulfilled by this work, and really hiring people along those lines too. Like for my clients, I've noticed they've had the better hires when they hire aligned with their mission, vision, and values, right? Like really interviewing and asking questions and figuring out like who this person is and what they care about so that when they come in, they feel connected to the work, not just because of the paycheck. Paycheck is important, pay people properly, but also because they are also the opportunity. They recognize that they are the opportunity and they have the opportunity to further what they think is important as well. Um, and that's great. Like, is that not a 10x waiting to happen, right? When you hire people who are so assured in the thing that is their part that everybody can collaborate in a way where everyone feels like it's a high five at the end, even if you're met by challenge, right? Even if you're met by something that makes it feel like, oh, this is very hard and this is something we have to maneuver and all those different kinds of things. Like that's really the point. Are the people you are around open to challenge? Are you yourself open to challenge and seeing it as a chance to renew your mind, right? And to move towards something that's like bigger and better because it makes you better and it makes you bigger. Yeah. And again, jumping back to self-care, like you might have to work on your fear of being perceived. You might have to work on this idea that like I do something and people see me. And that's scary, right? Because maybe there's something in your childhood where it's like I do something, people see me, and then I get ostracized, right? That's also a conversation I just had with somebody. And it's a very real thing. Sometimes your successes to people who have been around you have felt like a threat. So now you've internalized that as the reason, not even just your successes, your ideas that might be different. Um, for good or bad, right? Just different. They have been seen as a threat to certain bodies, certain people, and they're like, well, that's not safe for us or for you. Sometimes it's out of love, sometimes it's out of envy, um, and then you learn how to be quiet. You learn how to be unseen. That is something you have to work through. That is a fear of success conversation I've had multiple times where um, you are afraid to disappoint someone. You're afraid to like outshine someone else's legacy. You're afraid to move forward because maybe you don't know enough and you don't want to make a fool of yourself and shame yourself and your family. Um, like so many different kinds of things that can stop you from taking advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you that like are there, but you can't see it or you don't want to see it because now it's like, okay, the blowback from taking on this responsibility might be entirely too much. I would suggest reading The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Fantastic book. Um, that talks about your upper limit issues. Like, at what point does it feel so good that you have to make it feel bad? Like you just have to sabotage it because it feels entirely too good and too prosperous. Like, it's great. Now I have to destroy it all. People self-sabotage all the time in so many different ways. So it is good to kind of have some layered clarity on what that looks like. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you recognize that you are the opportunity. Like your vision, your mission, your values, your experiences, all of that makes something possible for somebody. And when you can make something possible for somebody because it's you, you become irreplaceable. And that's really what we want. We want them to keep coming back to you for their solutions because your way is the best way and you're accountable. When things go wrong, you apologize because it's not aligned. Like you are always looking for new solutions and new ways to make things better for people because that's just what you're into, right? Like There's huge opportunity in you, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Okay, girl, I'm gonna go start my day. I gotta go prepare for a meeting. And thanks for being here with me. I always appreciate it. So stay intentional and keep flourishing, okay?